And once he gets to home plate, he thanks everyone he's ever encountered. He's like, thank you to my mother and my sister and my father and that one guy from the bodega that gave me the papitas that one time. Everything changes when they bring out the Dominican guy.
I remember more laughs, to be honest. I'm about to watch my first update, which was the second episode of my first season. Let's see it.
The Major League Baseball season wrapped up this week and the playoffs are underway. Here to give us his thoughts is new SNL cast member Marcelo Hernandez.
I was definitely super nervous, for sure. This was also like an old stand-up joke of mine that I had done for a long time. So that made me more comfortable, but it's like I think it's my first time doing a joke of mine on TV for sure.
Or a guy that they call Papi and no one knows why. This guy got so good at his job, everyone started calling him Dad. Like Colin. Has anybody here ever called you Daddy?
I'd rather not say.
That's the coolest thing about Update is that you just come in with like a joke, like a stand-up joke, and then you'll have this moment of back and forth with Colin, and that'll add a laugh. Because it's not a stand-up thing, obviously. And Colin they do a great job of like making Colin come back at you in some way so you can have that, like, seems like a conversation.
Then this guy comes up.
Such a weird thing too to stand up during Update. They're like, you're gonna stand up, do you have to stand up? I'm like, yeah, that's the whole thing. And it was kind of a problem because the chair, like, I'm supposed to swing my hips a lot. And I 100%, like, a little bit later in this, I hit the chair and it swings into Colin and he has to stop it. I remember them being like, they asked me if I had to many times. And I had to be like, yes, I do have to. So the way the update ended up even happening is wild because it was my second episode and the playoffs were about to start and Aaron Judge hit this home run. Lauren loves baseball. Everybody knows Lauren loves baseball. And he asked me if I had anything about baseball in our meeting, just I think because he wants to talk about baseball. And I was like, yeah, I actually have this one joke. And I told him like a very rough version of it. But during my second episode, on Wednesday, which is table read day, I get a message from someone that's like, Lauren said that he thinks you have a baseball thing. Will you just write it for the table? So I had to like show up a little bit earlier before table, sit in a room with Jake Nordwin and Mike DiCenzo. I had to like perform my stand-up for them in the room and they're just sitting there like, yeah, that sounds, yeah, okay, we'll type that down.
And once he gets to batting, it's all hips, Colin. Everyone in the crowd is pregnant by the time he's done batting.
We did it at the table. It didn't do that great because like this isn't like a show full of like baseball fans. Like writers aren't necessarily like the most sporty people. And then obviously it made it to the show, but it was 100% Lauren being like, something happened in baseball, so we need something about baseball. Marcelo, do you have a baseball thing? It worked out. So thank you, Lauren.